Thank you all for coming today. I am attorney Danya Shakfeh, and the presentation today is how to assemble your A team for business success. Now, to get started, for those who don't know me, my goal is to protect business owners so they can focus on their dreams. And the way I do that is to help the business owners structure their business properly and to write and negotiate their contracts and to basically, if you have a deal, if you want to buy a business or sell a business or start a business, we get that done for you in a way that will protect you from future potential lawsuits. I've been an attorney for over 13 years, and my office is based in Oak Brook, here in the state of Illinois. So, agenda. First of all, why even have advisors if you're a business owner? Who do you need on your team and when, and how to find the advisors? Now, I just would like to get a feel for the audience. If you could post in the chat if you are starting a business or are expanding a business, and that way I can speak to kind of where everyone is. So, yeah, how about you throw it in the chat? Are you starting a business, thinking of starting a business? People putting in the chat. All right, so we got one person. He's starting a business now. That's an LLC. Anyone else? I'm curious if anyone has a business already and they're looking to grow and kind of feel like they don't know what to do next. And so they want to find advisors in order to grow their business. Is anyone in that situation? Okay, so we got someone. Luana is looking to scale her the business. Stu, who's looking to grow, of course. We love the growth. Awesome. Well, thank you everyone who participated. All right, so that's good to know. So we have a mix in the audience. All right, so again, why have advisors? So no man is an island. I'm sure a lot of you have heard that quote. It's from a poem. We all need help to succeed in life, right? So no one is knowing, or like no one is born knowing everything. And honestly, even if you did know something, do you want to do everything yourself, especially as a business owner? So a lot of people think if you want to get an MBA, that will help with being an entrepreneur, business owner. But if you look at a lot of the curriculums of an MBA, it's really designed for someone who is in the corporate, or excuse me, like a corporate environment, and to be a business advisor for a corporate, or excuse me, like a growing, excuse me, for a business that exists, usually larger businesses. A lot of the people find that if you are in a good like MBA program, then you have access to a network that can help you with business growth. But nowadays you can actually have that same network just through our technology, LinkedIn, and social media. And there's so many ways now to get tap into a network that can help you the growth of your business. And of course, the information that you can get from an MBA nowadays is pretty much available at a fraction of a cost. And we can talk about that as well. And at the end of the day, like I said, the highest and best use of an entrepreneur's time is not doing everything or knowing everything, but often you want to delegate. Okay. So why do businesses fail? And this is going to speak to why you have advisors. So according to the National Federation of Independent Businesses, only 2/3 of businesses survive, and in the first 2 years, and then about half survive the 5-year mark. And the reasons for failure that are cited is lack of planning, so like poor location, low cash flow, and the failure to seek advice. And then a lack of research, so not knowing who your market is, who your competitors are. A lot of the times people go into business, they have an idea and they use their gut or their intuition or just their experience, like their personal experience, to make business decisions. But that doesn't mean that your personal experience is what other people are experiencing. And so that's why you need to do the research. Insufficient funds. Yeah. So why do businesses like run out of money? Either that they don't have that, or excuse me, like they don't have the funds that they need to begin with, or they don't know how to spend their money that they already have. And we're going to talk about that. And of course, trying to do everything yourself. You can't scale a business, and then you're going to get burnt out if you are going to be answering your phones and doing your marketing and doing your sales and providing the service, and like actually managing the business, that you either will burn out, or you're going to have so much business and then you can't scale. And so that's another reason for failure as well. Who do you need on your team? So the way I'm going to do this is I'm going to talk about the role of the person, what they do, and when you want to hire that person. So I kind of like to start who you need to talk to at the very beginning. So if you have a financial advisor or someone who works in a bank, is a great way to start your business, because you first of all can have access to money. You can get a line of credit, or you can get a term loan. And the difference between those two is that like if you have a line of credit, it's kind of like a funds that you can access as needed. So for example, if you have some savings, but you're not sure if it's going to last you through um, or excuse me, like a certain phase of your business, then if it's, you can have access to those funds, and then you can pay it off on a more it's kind of like uh I mean, you still have a schedule to pay it off, but you can pay it off like faster, um or like if you pay off some of it, you can still tap into it again. And then a term loan is just, or excuse me, like it's one loan, and then if you need more money, like you have to ask for more money, like versus the kind of credit is something that you can tap to as needed. Um, and then so having a good relationship uh, like with a financial advisor or someone who works at a bank is a great way to get access to a loan. And then they can give you further advice on how to manage your wealth. All right, so a business owner, or excuse me. So then the next one is a business lawyer. So someone like myself. A lot of the times people come into my office with a problem that could have been avoided if they have had spoken to a business lawyer first. I generally like to recommend that you don't always need a full-on suite of services like from a lawyer, especially if you have a lot of liabilities at the beginning. So if you're kind of starting a freelance service at your home, you probably don't need, like all these complicated documents. But once you start to interact with people, or you have a building, or you have employees, or you have a lot of clients, or you're managing money, then at that point, you definitely want to consult a lawyer to work on your contracts or to help structure your business. But I will say, anytime you want to start a business, it's worth at least just to sit down with a lawyer to know what you don't know, and to kind of figure out when it's a good idea to bring in a lawyer. And also, a lawyer can help you assess what um, compliance you may have in your business. So, for example, if you are going to go into the food industry, certain services, then you are going to be subject to certain laws. And so, to at least know what laws you have to follow is a great way to establish relationship with a business lawyer, to have that first conversation, and then at that point, you can decide how much services like you need for the future, like with a lawyer. Of course, if you are going to be like getting funds, so if you're raising capital or if you're getting investors, you definitely want to talk to a business lawyer, because that is a very highly regulated action. Because anytime you are managing other people's money, then you may be subject to securities laws, and you don't want to get in trouble with the SEC at the very least, right? Um, an accountant, I would say get one pretty early on. I think people know what accountants are, but there are actually different types of accountants. Like you have the run-of-the-mill accountant who will file your taxes, but also there are accountants that also work as tax strategists. Most accountants, if you really think about it, most accountants are actually trained to serve the government. Like their role is not to serve you, the client. Their role, or excuse me, like their allegiance is to the government. And so having a tax strategist will actually help you like minimize your tax liabilities. And so you want that kind of accountant. So don't assume that just because you have someone handling your taxes and you may be getting a refund, that you have a good tax strategy. um, but rather I would seek an accountant that focuses on cutting your tax liability. All right, who's next? A bookkeeper. A bookkeeper, I feel like the name bookkeeper does not do justice to the value that a bookkeeper provides. Meaning that bookkeeper sounds really like, oh, you're just looking at my bank accounts or you're keeping track of my numbers, but they actually will help you create certain reports that are going to be that will be vital to the health of your business. So, profit loss statement is going to easily tell you how much profit and how much losses your business is incurring, but you want to have your accountant or your accounting set up properly to get accurate numbers. And so that's what they really do. You could try to do it yourself. I know at the beginning of my business, I used to do it on my own, and it was pretty much a disaster in terms of the actual reports not being accurate. And I would get one pretty early on, and they're not too expensive, especially if you're starting out. You could probably pay one maybe like 500 or 600 dollars a month, and or like to get the more basic reportings. But as your business grows, then you may also need like a budget, like a cash flow report, and again, like that will help you gauge what um uh how to protect your business from a cash crunch, or if you need to sell more products or services because you are going to run out of money, or if you need to tap into capital, like a term loan or a line of credit. So those are very vital, and I would get one actually at the very beginning of your business. Okay, and then a business consultant or coach. Now that's a very broad term. What is a business consultant or a business coach? Now I just want to say that the coaching industry is not regulated, meaning that you don't need a special certificate from the government or even like a local agency to actually call yourself a business coach. And so like that's different than a lawyer or an accountant. So there's no standard of what a business coach is. So pretty much anyone can call themselves a business coach. And so I would interview them and get good referrals before you hire someone, and don't sign any long-term contracts until you know that someone can provide results for your business. So I want to start with that. And then also I would ask them, in the process of hiring a business coach, is how many businesses have they built? And have they done it more than once? In other words, is their experience something that they can replicate and it wasn't, luck? There are many types of business coaches, and sometimes they call themselves like a fractional CEO or a fractional CFO or fractional COO. And like fractional meaning that they are not like full-time employees for your business, but they provide those services for you. So if you don't need a full-time CEO, you can hire like a fractional CEO who can help you create your business plan and to help you with the strategy of actually implementing that plan. But I would say that even when you're starting off, it would be a good idea to start with a written, business plan, because it's going to force you to ask those questions to yourself and to do the research that I talked about before as to why the businesses fail. So for example, you will be forced to do like your market research and to figure out what your consumers need. And it's also going to set some goals for you. And the statistics show too that when you have a business plan, or excuse me, like if you have a written business plan, then you are more likely to succeed in your business. The next person to have is an insurance broker. I would get one pretty early on as well. They don't cost much because they actually make commissions off the plans that they sell. But at the very least, like a general liability insurance. And it also, but so like what kind of insurance you need would also, excuse me, so having a good insurance broker will help you decide what insurance plans you need. Most people are likely underinsured, and that's both personally and professionally. And so having a good broker will make sure that you do. So I actually had the very unpleasant experience a couple of years ago of our basement flooding, and we didn't know that our business flooded because, or excuse me, we didn't know that we didn't have insurance for the flooding, because our business broker didn't tell us that it's something that we have to get as an add-on. And so that's why it's really important to have a good insurance broker. Another common mistake I think a lot of people don't realize is that when you get a cybersecurity insurance plan, our protection, it doesn't include all types of cyber breaches. And so a good insurance broker is going to examine your liability to give you the best protection so that you are not underinsured. Also, the minute that you hire like one employee, you also have to get the workers' comp insurance. If you are serving a lot of, or excuse me, if you are providing certain services, you probably want the E&O insurance, which is it's basically like a malpractice insurance. Oh, errors and omissions. So like lawyers and doctors have malpractice insurance, but the E&O insurance is basically the kind of insurance that would protect you from a professional slip up. Especially if you're like a real estate broker, you're providing further services. And yes, Stu makes a great point about to check your limits so that you know that you have the right amount of coverage. All right, next, IT professionals. So kind of on the similar lines of having the right insurance, an IT professional can protect your systems to have the right software so that you don't get hacked, and they will advise you on the best practices. And also in general, especially as your business is growing, you don't want to be the one managing the details of your hardware and software because you as a business owner have, other things that you need to be doing. And of course, you want to protect your IT from two people, yes, outsiders, but also employees. Or because if you have a disgruntled employee, unfortunately, because they had access to your system in the past and they could easily get back in and they know kind of where your weak spots are. And so having a good process and procedure for when you let an employee go is something that the IT professional can help you with. Sales coach. So I don't know how many of you are familiar with the well-known salesperson. His name is Daniel Pink. He has a lot of books on sales, and one of his books is called To Sell is Human. And indeed, we do sales every day. Like even if you are talking to your child and trying to convince them to clean your room, ultimately you're selling the idea of having a clean room in exchange for maybe their time or their sanity. So we're constantly selling. And as a business owner, you're going to be selling every day. And not only are you going to be selling to your customers, you're going to be selling to your employees. Again, you're going to be selling ideas. You're going to be selling concepts. You're going to be selling products, services. And so it's not a bad idea to learn how to do sales. I think also sales is kind of like a dirty word because when people think sales, maybe sleazy salesperson. And so to me, if you're speaking to a good sales coach is going to show you how to do sales and learn how to figure out what your clients need when you sell them. In other words, if you are in a sales meeting and you're trying to sell your services and you are the business owner trying to, or like you are talking more about yourself and how awesome you are, that's a terrible way to do sales. If you're doing most of the talking, that's not going to fly. But a good sales coach is going to show you what questions to ask of the person that you're trying to sell to so that you can sell what they need. And so, because a lot of times I think a lot of people make the mistake of not knowing what their clients actually want or need and then projecting what you think that they want based off of your own experience instead of just asking them, what they're looking for. A good sales experience will also set the stage for a good customer service experience because then you know what your clients want, you know what their pain points are. You took the time to just ask them. And so you will have like less chance of having those clients fire you. And also it creates the line of communication. So if a client is not happy, they're more likely to tell you because you took the time to actually talk to them at the beginning versus just throwing all this information about how awesome you are. So investing in a good sales coach. Now, how much do those cost? You could talk to like a private sales coach. I think they run between $300 and up an hour. So maybe just getting a few sessions with them is one way to do that. There's also a lot of incubators, and like we have attendees said that SCORE. They also provide free resources. I know that there's also another a incubator here actually in DuPage County, and they provide a lot of free resources, as well, or like, yeah, like classes for, their membership. So it's not necessarily expensive. And a therapist, and no, and yes, I'm serious. I think I had messed up my slide there, so I apologize, but I'm really serious about a therapist because you'll find all these things from your childhood start to surface. So, for example, a lot of people, we struggle with like rejection. Well, we might have had some experiences as children as to like when you have a client or an employee who says no to you, like I don't want to buy your services, and then you could get on this spiral. Or how, and then, or like as you grow, like the fear of fear of failure is one thing that a lot of us have to work through, but also a fear of success also. I think sometimes actually people fear success more than they fear failure, and that's a way that we self-sabotage. If you fear success, maybe because your friends might not want to be your friends anymore, they might think you're stuck up, or you're too cool for school, or and then like you have to kind of struggle with like why that matters to you. And so I don't know, personally as a business owner, having a therapist has been great. And so you will find that being an entrepreneur and being a business owner can be quite lonely. And you often have to battle your like inner demons. So the therapist and also would add also some business coaches also provide like mindset coaching. So I like to see therapy as things when you like address your past, whereas your mindset coaches will work on how to deal with the present and the future as you go as a business owner. So that's actually pretty much it. It's pretty straightforward. I'd be happy to answer any questions. Also, I do help business owners do business plans. I couldn't get a good link here, but I'm going to throw it in here. If anyone's interested in helping me help you create a business plan. And then if you sign on today, then you can get a $200 rebate. So I just want to throw that that service out there for anyone who is interested. It's over 2 days. And the reason why we do that is because the first day, often as prepared as some of my clients come for these business planning sessions, they find that they actually end up with more questions. And so we have the 2 days so that you can come back with more information. So with that said, does anyone have any questions? You can unmute yourself or get on camera, or you can just ask something in the chat. If you don't have any, okay, so do we have any recommendations on business lawyers in your area? So Christopher asked, yes, if there is. So actually, so if it's transactional, meaning there's no court involved, then it's something that I can probably help you with. If not, then I can find you someone. So Christopher, would you do me a favor and email me? I'm going to put my email here. If you want to just shoot me an email with what you're looking to get help with specifically, and either we can chat or I can send you a referral. Does anyone else have any questions? If you don't have any questions, you can just put no, just so that way I know that in fact people don't have any questions, or if I'm just waiting for someone to ask a question. Thank you, Tim. Thank everyone for your time, and have a great day. Oh, well, we do have a question. If I'm starting a business, yes. So Stu brings up a good point. So I will say that for me personally, as a business lawyer, I like to use my network to help my clients find their networks. But there's a lot of great resources out there there's like provisors, there's BNI, like you could, depending on your local area, a chamber of commerce. Some are better than others. There are just, like local events. You can go on Eventbrite, and actually you can find a lot of you know, uh, people who are networking to your specific like industry. Oh, our fellow oh, sorry, I misread that. Yes, entrepreneurs who can act as therapists. Stu, I actually, yes and no. In my experience, you got to be careful with that. your entrepreneurs can act as therapists, but if it can, the caution there is that they might end up acting like an echo chamber, and it just becomes because of the concept of like misery loves company. So sometimes if one person starts complaining, then everybody's complaining, and then it can actually be kind of like a Debbie Downer. So I like to say that when you have business, when you use those entrepreneurs as therapists or as a sounding board, maybe talk to someone who has more experience than you. Um, uh, yeah, with a little bit more experience that way, that so yes, they can hear you out and sh share your concerns, but also maybe provide some advice so that you're not just venting. I think venting is good. Sometimes we need an outlet, but also we want to get some action. Yeah, but there's a lot of services that are national, like again, like Provisors, BNI. I think there's like Business Advisors 500. I think that's what it's called. And there's Let's Hip is another one. So but you can just Google or ask around too. You can find some good ones. But here locally, we have Provisors is a pretty good one. All right. So then it looks like you guys again don't have any questions. So, but you have my contact information in case anyone needs anything in the future. And I want to thank everyone again for coming. Have a great day.